Shavua Tov u'mevorach alenu ve'alach, right? Baruch Hashem Shavua Tov. Anyway, this week's story, today's story, is a story that comes to teach us a very, very, very powerful lesson. Whenever you do chesed, you're only getting back chesed. Whenever you do chesed, you're getting back chesed. Don't think, oh, I give up of myself. Oh, no, you do chesed, you're getting back chesed. Anyway, the story was, there was a boy, we're going to call him Shmelke. Shmelke was a Hasidish guy, 22, 23-year-old, miskin, went through the Holocaust. And miskin, he went through a lot of tzarot, yisurim. And after the Holocaust, he goes back to Hungary. He's trying to see anything left over. And as he's walking the street, he sees a lady walking. And by Hasidim, they're very careful, but he sees this lady, and right away he picks up. This lady was the wife of one of his close friends that died in the Holocaust. And at that time, everyone was trying to help each other. He walks over to this lady. He goes, are you Suda? Sarah? She says, yes. He says, you're Suda Binyamin's wife, right? She says, yes. He says, I'm Shmelke. Shmelke, what's going on? What's happening? What's with Binyamin? Da, 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 da. And he says, look, I want you to sit down. Sit down. He pulls out a piece of paper, starts writing on a piece of paper. He writes something. He gives it to her. She says, what is this? Open it up. She opens up. He wrote, Ani Ed, I'm a witness that I saw this lady's husband dying in the Holocaust, and therefore any bet din, again, this lady wants to get remarried, she has to have at least an Ed Echad that she can get that saw that her husband died. And he wrote in the letter, she takes the paper, she's like, what? My husband's dead! No! She says, tear out the baby, screaming and yelling. And he waits, he lets her calm down, lets her cry and everything. And he writes her another letter. And she tears up, no, I don't want this, I don't want it. And she tears it up and everything. And he waits again till she calms down. He says, I understand, it's very difficult, mamash. He waits a very long time, and now he writes a third letter, writes it very nice, very misudar. I, Shmuel X, was the Ed that saw that Binyamin, this lady's husband, died in the Holocaust. Right? She's allowed to get remarried. Okay. She takes the paper, she's very angry, she starts crumbling it, but he said, please, you're going to need the letter, don't do it. So, okay, she holds on to the letter, and they each go on their way, and she goes, 6 months later, she meets a man. Now she's already, she understands she has to move on in her life. She meets a man, and Baruch Hashem, things are going very well, and they decide to get engaged, and they get married. Now, at that time, they made a betting of 3 big dayanim who helped all these cases get remarried. And this dayan, there's these 3 dayanim are sitting there, and she comes with her future up-and-coming husband, and she says, I want to get married to this man. And the first question, did you have any husbands, spouses, wives that, died in the Holocaust? Yes. Do you have any edim that saw your husband die? Yes. And here's the letter. She gives the letter to the dayan. The dayan opens the letter, and his hands start shaking. And she said, is everything okay? He says, where did you get this letter from? He says, this was a friend of my husband. He says, of course, I knew your husband. This is my son. This Shmuel is my son. Where did you see him? And she's like, I saw him in Hungary. We were in Hungary. He said, you saw Shmuel? He said, I didn't know what's going on with him. I didn't know if he's alive or he died. And anyway, because of this letter, they start checking up, and they finally, father sends a message to his son, I'm going to meet you at a certain train station. And they come, 10 o'clock in the morning, they went to meet, father is there, son is there, and they're not meeting each other. And 10, 11, 12, and finally the son decides to scream, Abba, Tati, are you here, Abba? And what happened? Miskin, the kid, the son, Shmelke, he looked like a 50-year-old from all the difficulties. His father didn't recognize him. But as he said, Abba, Tati, are you here? He was standing not far from him. He ran over, and they found each other. But what's the thing? We would have thought that this Shmelke did a favor to this Surah by giving her the paper. It's not true. Shmelke got that chesed back, that because of this letter, he merited to find his father. Wow. If not for the fact that he stood there writing the letter again and again, his father would have never seen the letter. It would have been very hard to find each other. When you do a chesed, remember, you are not just giving a chesed, you are getting back a chesed.